All right, guys, we are back out here at Altitude Adjustment, and I want to give you an update on where we're at today. All of our HVAC system is just about complete, so I want to walk you through our whole process of how we're going to heat and cool this house, and also talk a little bit about our fireplaces that are going to put off heat throughout this entire project. So let's get going.
Altitude Adjustment, a Build Original series, is brought to you by Builders FirstSource, Delta Millworks, Huber Engineered Woods, Pella, and Sharkbite.
This episode is brought to you by Isokern. We'll just start in the family room because this is where we're at, right inside the front door. So this unit is kind of the big unit, the big wow piece here right inside the entry. And it really is the place where everyone's going to hang out and kind of gather. So homeowners wanted something that they could truly burn wood in. So that was the intention with a masonry fireplace. But they also wanted the ability to have it be a gas fireplace. So we had a few options. And one of the things we decided on was to go with an Isokern fireplace. This is the Magnum 72. So it's 72 inches wide and it has about a 36-inch viewing opening. We did choose to raise this up off the ground. So this will have like a seated hearth that you can sit in front of it. But the big idea behind this was open box. So we don't have any glass on the front of it, wood burning or gas. So the plan is to set this up currently as a gas burning fireplace, but with the intention of possibly in the future switching it to wood. The masonry fireplaces are awesome, but one of the downfalls that they have is the weight. Because of the weight of the fireplaces, you have to make sure that you have the structure to hold it up. Now, in our case, we do, and we actually poured a foundation wall underneath this, but we always kind of knew we were going to use the Isokern. Isokern fireplaces are made out of an Icelandic volcanic pumice. So instead of being like a true CMU block, these are a lot lighter weight. So when the product is delivered here to the job site and when the product is installed, it's just easier to handle, it's easier to get around. And because it is a volcanic pumice, it's just lighter in general. So we're not as worried about structural framing, even though we're set up for it. This entire unit is surprisingly quick to install. I came over to watch the crew install it. They called me at 8 in the morning. I showed up at 10 o'clock and it was already done. So these things go together really quick, which is fantastic. And then you truly have kind of unlimited flexibility when it comes to what the inside is going to look like. So in our case, the homeowners really wanted a black fire brick. So the fireplace company supplied us with 3 different color options to choose from. We chose the black, and then we did decide that we were going to lay it in a herringbone pattern in here. So it'll give it just a nice, clean and simple look. One of the things you have to think about with these masonry units, especially the bigger we go, is that we need to think about venting. And as we're building these houses tighter and tighter, we need to be thinking about how is this fireplace going to vent. You can see how big it is. We have 2 gigantic pipes coming out the top. We are sucking a lot of air out of this house. So we just want to make sure that we're venting this properly. We're bringing in fresh air that we should be. And another cool thing about the Isokern is they have a really great power vent option if that's something that you need. And it's super simple to install, works really well. So great setup on that one. I think this is going to turn out to probably be one of my favorite fireplaces, but I want to show you the party room because I think this one's going to be super unique and pretty cool for entertaining. So come check this out. This room is truly meant to be a bar, a true bar. It has no other purpose other than entertaining the homeowner's friends. So we have a U-shaped bar set up in the middle. We've got TVs in the back, we have TVs in the corners, and then we obviously have all these gigantic doors that open up to go out to the outdoor areas and the pool. We are in Park City, Utah, so it is cold. And we wanted the ability to kind of have this cool fireplace vibe. Again, the homeowners love wood burning, so that was really important to them on this. And this was the unit we decided to install. First off, it's set up at a really weird height, but the idea behind this was if I'm sitting on a bar stool here, I can sit next to the fireplace and enjoy the heat. Sometimes wood burning fireplaces aren't beautiful, or they have big doors on them that you have to open to be able to get in and load them with wood. This one blew my mind. So it's locked in place currently, but there is a glass screen door that is right here that'll pull down to cover the front. So we can lift that screen door up. It goes up within the fireplace box, not in front of our facing. So it's hidden up in the unit. We can load all the wood in the fireplace and then pull it back down. It's just a very clean and neat look, a lot more of a modern look to a traditional wood fireplace, and is still very beautiful and simple. So we're gonna go downstairs, check out HVAC equipment. Now, we've talked about this a few times, especially in early episodes when we poured the basement slab. This whole house is radiant heat. So we will have tubing and concrete that'll get poured on the main floor. But our basement system is done, and all of our HVAC system from a forced air standpoint is done. So let's go down and check that out. I'm gonna start off by saying this house has far too many HVAC units in it, but there's a reason behind the madness. So we'll talk about it a little bit. But we're gonna start on this wall. We have 2 Mitsubishi air handlers in this space. One is doing the bar that we were just in, and the other one is doing this bunk room that is behind us. And the reason these 2 are where they're at and why they do the areas they do is because this bunk room and the bar are stepped down lower. So you can see we're gonna walk down here into the bunk room 3 feet, and the bar above us is stepped down that same 3 feet from the upper level. So it kind of shifts the floor levels from the rest of the house to this part. We had to be able to get equipment in there. So we created these 2 closets. This unit itself is actually downflow, and it is gonna go and feed this bunk room. So we have registers down on the bottom of this wall that'll make this bunk room great. And then we pulled some out of the top. We have returns on the bottom, supply on the top. Same thing over here, just for a different space. It's for the bar that we were in, right? So this unit goes up, and supply and return are running across the ceiling of the bunk room, going into the floor above. We did kind of get creative with our ductwork up here so that we could get the return air on the far side and the supply air on the other side. The trickier the layout of the house is, the trickier this stuff is, and this is really what we care about. As we come over here, we have even more challenges. So we have a laundry room here, and this laundry room is going to have 1 Mitsubishi fan coil in the ceiling. And the unit that's in this ceiling is actually doing this bedroom. So makes things a little complicated, but the idea was less ductwork, right? We're trying to minimize ductwork. And now the reason that we're gonna start coming through all these spaces and realizing there's individual units for almost every area is because of a system we have going in this house called ACT. The homeowners are from Florida primarily, and when they come here to Utah, they experience altitude sickness, and they're not here long enough to acclimate to it. So we're gonna acclimate them quicker. We are going to basically bring the altitude in the 2 primary bedrooms down to a more comfortable level so they can sleep better, can breathe better, and they can just have a truly better experience while they're here. But in order to do that, those 2 bedrooms have to be totally sealed off. So we have the bunk room and the bar that are separate units thanks to the structure in the house. We have the 2 upper level master suites that are separate units thanks to the altitude control technology. Then we have 2 bedrooms down here in the basement that are on opposite sides of the house. So it kind of makes sense that they're separate too and minimizes the most drops. So that's why we ended up. You'll notice we have all of our supplies up at the top. Then if you come in here, we have another one of those same fan coil units in the ceiling of this basement closet that is doing the guest master suite above us. So this is the one that will have the altitude control technology system hooked to it. And this is a sealed system, so it can truly just handle that space. We can make sure that we can pressurize it properly, and that system will work really well. The downside to this is we end up with some dropped ceilings We're just trying to get creative with where we should drop them and where we can drop them. We finished this side of the house and we still have a whole nother side of the basement. So let's walk over here. I'm gonna show you kind of middle mechanical room, and then we have a far mechanical room, and we'll check out the rest of the systems. So we've already seen 4. We actually have 9 in this house. So let's go to the other side and check the rest of it out. We're passing bunk room, passing the bar. This is the middle mechanical room. The plan that we have in here is this is where you're going to see our first Linux system. So we have 2 Linux systems in the house. These are both 96% efficient, variable speed. They also have an 18-SEER variable speed heat pump attached to them. One of these does the wellness room, the common hallways, and the staircase. And then the one that's on the other side of the house does common space upstairs. When you watch a lot of build show videos, you're gonna see a lot of stuff about dehumidifiers. We have the opposite problem. I'm gonna put humidifiers on both of these. So both of these Lennox units will have steam humidifiers. The reason we do steam instead of bypass is the steam will run year round. The bypass only runs when the furnace is running. That'll help their hardwood floors not move as much. Hardwood cabinets, pretty much any wood trim, ceiling beams, all of that kind of stuff. We want to stabilize that humidity. The other things that we're gonna have in this space here is water softener is gonna go in here, which will be a great place for it. It's kind of mid-room. We're gonna have an RO system for the house. We have our electrical panels, which these are actually gonna get pulled and replaced with span panels. And stay tuned for the next episode because we're gonna be talking all about this crazy electrical system. We have our Lutron lighting panel because this whole house is Lutron Ketra. We have shades, we have automation, and pretty much this entire left wall is gonna be the automation hub for the house. This entire wall is the electrical hub. So a little bit of both. You will notice as we leave here, we do have some of our radiant heat manifolds here in the wall. Having them auto balanced, you don't have to have these accessible. So we can put them in the wall anywhere that makes the most sense for our layout. And then in the end, it just works and functions and we don't have to think about it. So that's great, makes it easier for us to do that. And then as we come over here, we're kind of entering the middle of the house. We're underneath where that big fireplace was, the kitchen, the family room. This space originally was planned to be kind of a theater. We turned it into a wellness room. So stay tuned for what that's gonna be because this is probably one of my favorite spots in the house. And then as we go back to this side, this is kind of where all the rest of our HVAC equipment lives. And this was truly the main mechanical room in the house. Here is that second Lennox unit that I talked about. It services that upper level, makes things super easy. This is going to be our beautiful copper piped radiant heat and snow melt wall. This is probably one of my favorite things in the houses just because I feel like when all this copper piping's done and done right, it looks beautiful. We'll have pretty much this entire wall covered in valves for both those systems. And then the boiler for the radiant heat and the boiler for the snow melt. Then you'll see over here, we have 2 more Mitsubishi units, and these are doing basically this basement bedroom on this side. And then we have another one that's doing mechanical rooms, this other bedroom, our vault that's back here. And then we're also heating the pool equipment room. Here is where our very last fan coil lives. And it is in the ceiling of this basement bedroom, servicing the master bedroom above. The reason that we put them down here instead of putting them upstairs, first off, they're in conditioned space where they're at right now. Our attic here is not conditioned, so they're better down here. We also have less concern about dropping the ceilings in these basement closets than we do upstairs. That's kind of the overview of the amount of systems that it's taking to do this house. But one of the things I want you to think about is we can't vent out of any walls. We also can't vent out of the roof. This HOA requires that we take every vent, every single vent, up and out a chimney. One of the other things we haven't really talked about is the pool. I know we talked about it in a previous episode, but that pool has to be heated. And so we have a giant pool boiler that's going in this concrete space. It is a fully encased concrete room that our pool boiler is going to be into, and it sits outside of the house underneath the swimming pool. So getting to a chimney was nearly impossible. We actually called the HOA, had them meet us out here on the site to explain what the issue was and what our plan was to fix it, to ask for permission instead of forgiveness. Took us a few days, but we were able to get that figured out. We're gonna vent them out the back. Unless you're down on the lake with binoculars, you're never gonna see these vents. So we're gonna stop here real quick. We have the dryer vent from downstairs and the bath fan. The other thing that I forgot to mention earlier, but we also have to take up and out the chimneys, is all of our plumbing stacks. Everything is coming up, attempting to find its way through the attic, up and out these chimneys. So we're gonna come through the master bedroom, through the master bath, and into his closet. So I did end up adding another attic access, but the reason I added it was because I wanted to hide these ERVs. And this was the best place for us to do it. We're taking exhaust and intake out these chimneys. So when we're prioritizing what goes out what chimney, we need to make sure that we're not taking an exhaust for the fireplace and putting it right next to an intake for our fresh air system. We do not want to bring carbon monoxide back into the house. We do not want to be doing this wrong. So you're really needing to prioritize like what exits where. So that makes everything that we've just talked about even trickier. But we have kind of a fresh air side and we have an exhaust side. And these two ERVs that are mounted up in the attic right here are right above our attic access, so easy to get to. I think the HVAC team did a killer job at really planning this out and making it work perfect. I know all the added work of venting this stuff up and out the attic into a chimney was not easy. Let's go outside, check out the chimneys, and wrap this one up. These chimneys that are coming out of the roof are quite honestly jam-packed. There is so many pipes that are coming out of every single chimney. When the house is done and you're seeing no vents, everything is hidden within a chimney enclosure. It does look really good. It looks really clean. And in all reality, when we're building a house in a different neighborhood where we are allowed to vent, we're still trying to get everything to the back so that when you pull up to the house, you're not seeing pipes stick out everywhere. But this has been a really unique experience. I've learned a lot. We've been faced with a ton of challenges. These were not easy and we had to make some sacrifices, but I'm super proud of this team. It took them a month to get this system in and to get everything vented and work just perfectly, and it was not easy. So I can't wait to see how it performs. We're gonna get electrical in next, AV right in after that. As soon as the AV team is done, our altitude control technology system will go in. We'll be insulating and headed to drywall. So stay tuned because I feel like this house is just gonna get better with every single episode. I hope to see you guys next time on the next episode of Altitude Adjustment.